What's going on, guys? Hey, everyone! This is Azure Dreams, any percent. Let's get right into it. We got some dialogue to skip in the beginning. There is a strat for this. It's called hold B and mash A as fast as you can. And your name doesn't matter. It just loses time to change your name. So there's about 3 minutes and 50 seconds of cutscenes to go through. And there's no skips for it. So I'll tell you a bit about the game. This is Azure Dreams on Game Boy Color. It's basically Diablo 2 meets Pokemon on on Game Boy Color. So this big tower you see here, we're gonna get to the 30th floor of it. That's where the game ends after you fight the boss there. And I know Diablo 2 and Pokemon mixed together sound like a really awesome game, but we're not gonna use any of the mechanics that the game wants us to use to beat it. So a bit on the history of the run. We started running this, I think, 4 months ago. Me and the other guy. Well, there's 3 of us on the leaderboard now. We played it as kids and didn't see anyone with runs, so we started doing it. And originally it was about a 4.5-hour run because we didn't know half the stuff we knew now. We actually went by the mechanics of the game. So what were they? Well, you can get some monsters in this game and level them up and give them abilities and whatnot. You'll see one come in right here, this little green guy. So they'll follow you around as you're going up the tower. And the reason you're going in the tower is because your dad went up there and he never came back. So when you turned 15, you decided to go in the tower and look for him. This guy here is your rival. He actually helps speed up the game, so there's some encounters you can't get by in this, but you can skip his encounters, so you actually want him on certain floors of a tower, and it's all random. That's the other thing about the game. It's a huge RNG fest now, since we stripped away all the mechanics. Every floor is different on every run. It's roguelike in that regard. Every layout's going to be different. All where the items are placed is different. Where the elevator to go up is going to be different. It's just certain floors, the layout's the same. So floor 16, floor 3, floor 5, and a few others. Their layout's always the same. The only difference is where the items and elevator are located. And we're not exactly sure how the RNG is determined. I suspect it's through the frame you enter the elevator on to go up. But step count might be involved as well. I haven't taken the time to figure it out yet. So there are some dialogues in this game. There are dialogue choices, but it's actually quicker just use all the default settings in all but one of the dialogues. And that one's optional, or that one's random. It might not come up, so you'll just see me holding B and mashing A. So the way you get monsters in this game is by using collars. And your mother's about to give you a collar right now. So that little thing there is a collar. It lets you have monsters out. And she's also going to give you the most useless item in the game now that we've taken all the mechanics away. And that is a big Vit Seed. And what that does is just gives you mana back. Or magic power. Things that let you use abilities. But we don't use abilities. So we'll see what happens here. Now the game does have, since it is an RNG fest, there are some resets you have to do. They lose about 20 seconds. And I'll be saving on every floor just in case those resets come up. Normally for world record runs, I wouldn't save at all just because of the time loss. So we've got control of the character now. Let's head to the tower. And this guy's going to come talk to us. And this is going to be the first monster we get in the game, so we don't just start the tower naked. And in older runs, you used to have to leave the tower. His name's Kune. You used to have to leave the tower because you couldn't do it in one run. And when you left the tower, you lost all your items and gear, but your monster stayed the same level. So leaving was a bad thing. So we just figured out ways to get up a tower without having to leave it. And basically, we don't level anybody up, and we just exploit boss RNG. So classic stuff. So we're in the tower. Floor 1. Floor 1's a tutorial floor, and this guy here is going to try and tutorialize us, but that loses time, and we don't want to do that. So in order to stop him from tutorializing us, we're gonna put him away. So we're going to go to items here. We're going to take him, and we're going to collar him. And that puts him in the bag. So why is that important? Because every item we walk over, he would stop to narrate what it does if we didn't do that. So it's just better to shut him up and put him in the bag and never hear from him again. Okay, so now the first bit of menuing. So we just got an item. This egg. This is how you get monsters. You hatch the eggs. We get a Wump. He's very useless. But he's necessary for the bit of the run. So we're going to bring him out. And we're going to set him to spell back up. So you can set his AI. So all that means, and we're going to equip an item here. The only weapon we're ever going to equip. What that means is he's just going to buff up our attacks to give us some more survivability. And we're going to fight our first monster here. So we'll just one-shot this guy. Now, as I'm coming down, I'm going to avoid this here because in the middle is a sleep trap that puts you to sleep. That's a wind gem. With the current strategies, wind gem's the most powerful item in the game, so you'll see me looking for those. And I'll just save on every floor just to add some insurance to the run. Now, there is a chance that once I get to the higher floors, I will come into a scenario where the run cannot progress. That happens maybe 4% of the time. Like, it's really low. It's less than 5. I've done hundreds of these runs, and it's maybe happened to me twice. So, here we go. Now we're going to look around for an elevator. There's an egg. We're going to take the egg. There's the elevator there. So these early floors, sometimes it's better to explore a little bit and try to find a wind gem. So we're going to take the egg, which is important. And then we're going to go to the next one. Now, this next floor, this floor 2, and we're going to save. Floor 2 is always the same layout, same as floor 3. This is always the same. So we're going to meet this guy named Marzen, and he's seen our dad before. He's going to tell us a little bit about him. But we're going to skip his dialogue, because that saves frames. So he's going to walk away. Now, the thing of this floor is it's shaped like a Pokeball, and finding the elevator can be tricky. So you start in the top outer circle, or the top inner circle of it, and we're just going to try and find the elevator. We're going to fight. I guess that Wump doesn't want to fight. It is another egg. We'll take that. It is useful to level up a little bit. We don't want that second egg. This is just full of eggs here, but they're all Wump eggs, so we don't want them. We killed him. Now, you will go into a battle mode if you're not going to one-shot an enemy, and that's useful. Well, it's not really useful, but leveling up here is not bad, just because floor 7's kind of tricky. And we're at level 2. Sweet. So when our Wump levels up, he'll become a Catawump. And we got the half speed trap. Half speed traps aren't bad, unless there's an enemy on screen, so it doesn't actually affect your movement unless there's an enemy on screen. And like I said, this floor is usually quite bad for finding elevators, just because of the way it's shaped. There's no strategy for wandering around it either. You just have to walk around until you find the elevator. And there it is. So we'll kill this guy. That thing on the ground is an axe. You can give that to another type of monster to level it up into a certain kind of troll. And that other one, that little black one's a seed. Seeds are important for full 100% runs, where you have to go the whole way up and down the tower. Because they level up your monsters in certain stats. This guy's named Scale. He steals from monsters and doesn't really do anything else. You see him a couple times in the tower. This floor has 2 places to go. It's another of the preset floors. You can go left and up, or right and up, or you can go left and up. We're going to go right and up, but just check over here to see if the elevator's there. If you go left or right and up, sometimes the elevator's not usually there, but because the elevator's right here. Perfect. Actually, I just want to look for a wind gem real quick, just because I want to have a stockpile of them. So the fireball is no big deal. That's only 4 damage. And see, here's the mode. Here's the battle mode, where if you're not going to one-shot it, that you'll go into. So he's using skills on me. Now you're going to notice I'm not too worried about HP, and that's because at the higher floors, if I get hit, I have to reset. At the lower floors, if you get hit, you gain HP by walking around, so I'm not too worried about that. And Wump leveled up, so he's going to evolve as well. Now that we're at level 3, 4 is about as high as you want to go. Now, we didn't find a wind gem, and there's just eggs everywhere, so we're just going to go back up, since we already have an egg. And I'll keep saving. Like I said, normally I wouldn't save on every floor, but and there are 30 floors, since this is, and now we're going to meet Atlee. Atlee's just another girl, kind of people in the tower. They all knew your father. They want to talk with you, just because they think, oh, you look like your dad. Yeah, of course, he's my dad. Mostly they're just here to ruin the speedrun and take time away. So there's, again, this is another of the preset floors. The elevator, this guy here, level 5. So like this and floor 7 are usually the floors where things stop being able to be killed and they start doing enough damage. You have to avoid them rather than fight them. There is type advantage in this game. So if you see, my Wump is blue, which means he's water based. That guy was green, which means he's wind based. So wind beats fire. It's like rock, paper, scissors, like Pokemon in that regard. Okay, so the elevator is up. And when a monster's on screen, you can't run. And you'll notice some of these panels here have arrows on them, which means you can only go in the direction of the panel. And we're going to run along here. Now I'm going to run along the bottom. And that's because if I run along the top, I can see more monsters. And again, if monsters are on screen, I'll be moving slower. So you don't want that at all. Now the difference between this and a 100% run is that in a 100% run, you'd actually be finding monsters to level up. And that's because the bosses in the 100% run, once you get past the first two, use the RNG exploit can't be used on them. So I am a little bit low on health, and I don't want to die. So I'm just going to go to skills, and I'm going to have my Wump heal me. That's the beauty of this guy, is he can heal. So I'm back to full health. That's fine. That means if we get double teamed, we're not going to get annihilated. And we're just going to use the same strat, just walking around, looking to find the elevator or any items that would be useful to us. There are none here, so we'll keep going. And we don't want that seed, which means the elevator has to be over here. You can also just sit still and press select, and that will pass a turn in the game. So it is turn-based when enemies are on screen, like I just did there. You saw I stopped, and then I'd press select so that it forced him to move, so that I didn't move into his line of sight and have him attack me. Just to save some HP in case he gets a lucky crit and it forces a reset. But like I said, resets aren't that bad. Even in the world record, I think I did 2 or 3 resets. They're just something you have to deal with. And now this is the last section of this floor, which means the elevator has to be here. And you're going to notice, I'm going to pick this sand up just because you can throw sand at enemies to blind them. And I'm on a sleep trap. That's the most dangerous trap in the game, because if an enemy walks over to me while I'm asleep, he's going to get an automatic critical that will probably end the run. And that means the elevator must be down in this corner here. No elevator. Okay. Let's bring this guy over and kill him. So elevator must be in top left here. I don't know where else it would have been that I would have missed it. There is a map you can check in the items as well, or in the pause menu that will show the map if you found it, or at least show the places you haven't been. So I'm level 4. That's about as high as a level as you want to get to, just because of how much time leveling up wastes. Because when you level up, the Wump levels up with you, and you're gonna level up at the bosses regardless. Well, this is weird. Let's check the map. Maybe it's just in the middle here then. I'll be embarrassed if I get a seed that doesn't have an elevator on the floor. But regardless, even if there is no elevator on the floor, there is a failsafe for that. The game will boot you to the next floor if you spend too much time on one of them. But this obviously means I missed the elevator back the other way, so there we go. Other than that, like I said, if you spend too much time on the floor, an earthquake happens and you get booted up regardless. Here's the earthquake here. So the earthquake will trigger 3 times, and then you'll get booted up. It's just to prevent infinite grinding, which, I mean, even though they have that mechanic in, we've obviously found ways to beat the game without even using the mechanics, so... that's one developer failsafe that we managed to get through. The history of the run's actually, I think, more interesting than where the run's at itself, just for how many mechanics we stripped away during the run. I'd also like to shout out to everyone here about making this run possible. Commander, Raichu, Kultaho, Ceriam, of course. I've got the Earthbound spread in the background. I've got an Earthbound shirt on. Welcome to Moonside. No Earthbound hat, none of those yet. And you can't make combat text scroll any faster, so the best thing to do, that's bad. So I know I'm low on HP right now, so I'm going to have this guy shoot me up. I'll get my attack first, and then he'll use his skill before I'm hit. Boom. So this usually means that the elevator might be in the bottom right. Boom. So we're getting a ton of HP, and this guy here is a Genny. He's not overly tough. He's kind of like Wobbuffet from Pokemon, just tall, blue, and useless. And he dies in 2 hits, also because of level 4. Alright, let's go. I'm just excited to find this elevator, since obviously it was missed. And there's another Genny. Second earthquake. So if we don't find the he crit me on 1. That's one other thing about this game, is critical hits are absolutely broken. They don't actually work as intended. They don't double damage. There's just a... Wow, there's the elevator right there. I've never seen it there before, but by trial and error, process of elimination, I had to figure out that, hey, that's where it is. So we're on floor 6 now, and they're going to start, this is one of the cool things about this game, is the elevator can be right there, but since you have a little bit of a grace period before monsters spawn, I'm just going to have a quick little peek to see if there's any wind gems on those two sides beside us, and then keep going. So that doesn't always happen, and that's part of the getting a world record in this game, is just having favorable elevator placement. Now this floor can be annoying, mostly because it's single hallways. So the Vit Seed, again, that's not an item we actually want. We're just forced to pick it up. So there's a wind gem, and that's something I really need to get. I'm going to make it very hard to do, though. You don't want to fight them. They can put you to sleep and kill you. So you can manipulate their RNG a bit by taking them off screen. And then they might go away, or they might just decide to come walking down here. But they didn't. So there's only one, and we do have the fire orb. So if this guy wants to fight, we can definitely give him I want him to go a certain way. Okay. We're going to hit him with a fire orb real quick. This is sort of a failsafe, and then it does a lot of damage. But he is the same level as us, so I'll hit him with one smack of that. He missed the blizzard. The blizzard would have put us to sleep. And then he would have hit us with a crit, most likely, because anytime you're asleep, it's big damage on you. We do have that guy coming from behind us, and he's going to follow us, but that doesn't matter, because we're going to grab this wind gem, and then keep going on through. So we're going to make a little bit of a loop here, just to avoid these enemies. Now, if Wump dies, I'm not worried. Wump dying is not a big deal. Like I said, we have the eggs, so we don't actually need Wump for the run. And we've got a Congo line behind us. So as long as no enemies spawn in front of us, we can go. Otherwise, the floor might be a reset. Although we do have 2 wind gems, so we could use one of those. And we won't engage in any... There's the elevator. Boom! So just don't panic when you get enemies coming after you. There's always a way around them. Floor 8, another random floor. Right here. Usually the elevator is right on time. So actually we're going to pick up the sand real quick. Just because we can throw it at enemies to blind them in case we get stuck later. So another lucky elevator. Floor 9. Now floor 10 is where something special happens. I won't say exactly what. I'm going to pick that egg up just because it could be an apostrophe egg. And apostrophe eggs are actually spawn monsters that do 1 extra damage to the boss. There's the elevator there. Let's just check for wind gems real quick. Okay, that guy. We want, if the egg's apostrophe, it will have that enemy there in it. And he's fire type and does an extra damage to the boss. So here we are at floor 10. What's special about floor 10? Well, floor 10 is where we're going to meet, and keep this guy in mind. And we get a wind gem right away, so really good RNG right here. That could even be a fire gem. So this guy's name is Beldo. I'm not going to say who he is. But he's going to give us our second caller. Now what that does is lets us have 2 monsters out at once. And that's very important, because if we have 2 monsters out at once, we can exploit the RNG of the boss. Very, very important stuff. So we're going to grab that. That's a wind gem. So we have 3 wind gems now, which is great. And now we're just on a hunt for the elevator. While we try and not... We've already got enough sand. That thing has Sunmakers. We don't actually want to stay in that thing's line of sight for too long. And it decided to go away, which is great. They don't always decide to go away, and there's the elevator. So let's go up again. Floor 11. We're going to have an encounter with our rival here soon. But if you choose the right dialogue options, he won't actually fight you. That's bad. This floor might be a reset. Okay, no monsters yet. And there's a bloom and a sunmaker and a bunch of bloom. But there's the elevator, right? So here's what we're going to do. Hopefully he moves to the right. Okay, he moved down. So we're going to blind him with that sand and then go to the elevator. So we're going to throw sand in his eyes. And that didn't work. So we're going to throw sand in his eyes again. And if that doesn't work, we'll have to wind gem him. Boom. And he walks towards us. Okay, this might work. Oh, yes, we got him to come down. So very, very good manipulation there. Otherwise, we'd have had to waste a wind gem, which we need for the higher floors because the monsters are a lot tougher up there. Floor 12. Now, the first boss is... Here it is. Ghost is here. So, here's his dialogue. He wants us... He's asking us if we want him to protect us, so we'll just say no thanks. And then he just says, you've learned some respect for the aristocrat's privacy, and he goes away. Otherwise, we'd have to fight him. We don't want to fight him because that wastes time. So we're just going to take the elevator up. And we'll save. So here we are at floor 13. Now, coming up again is another floor, poison trap. So this is bad because it saves time, because we're going to take poison until it's gone. Or it loses time. I'm not worried about dying here. Poison, yeah, we're cured. Everything on this floor is going to one-shot me anyway, so I'm not super worried. Now, finding the elevator here is really tricky. There it is. Well, isn't that magical? Alright. There's a trick I want to try. Yeah. Always be thinking. You gotta use the environment to your advantage. Again, that just saves using a wind gem. Floor 14. So, perfect floor. So let's just check to see if there's any wind gems here. Okay, that's Soil Claw. He's diving in, which just means he's gonna go underground. He's gonna stay underground until he finds us, then he's gonna launch an attack. We don't want that to happen, so it cuts our exploration short by a little bit. And floor 15. Now, the first boss coming up is on floor 20. Floor 16 is a pre-planned floor. It has a special monster on it called a Barong. And what the Barong does... There's the elevator with a Soil Claw and a Flamenco right at it. So we're going to see if we can bait those guys out and get them to go the other way, which they did. Perfect. So floor 16. This floor has a Barong on it. Now, if we meet the Barong, it's usually always a reset. And the reason is you can't throw a wind gem at him to make him go away. Because any item you throw at the Barong... he takes it and turns it into another item. So in the beginning of this run, and even in the 100% run, you always throw items at the Barong to try and get the best items you can before you move to the next floor. It's a very broken strat. So we're just gonna poke around for the elevator until we see some. There's the elevator. We didn't even meet the Barong, so great. I think that's him down there. I see those two pixels flashing, which is what his animation does. When you see him. So we're on floor 17 now. We're making pretty decent time. I know we lost a lot in the beginning, early floors. So here's scale again. This floor again is preset. Same as the Barong floor. It's always the same layout. It's just the items in the elevator placement change. So let's have a look here. So there's two places we can go: left, right, or down. I always like checking down because there's the elevator. The only problem with checking down is you can get stuck if a monster comes along and there's no elevator there. So here we are at floor 18. On floor 19, I'm going to do some preparation for the boss. We're going to grab this egg, just because. And there's the elevator there. So we'll have a peek for some wind gems. There's none. That's a Sizar. He can go invisible. We really don't want that to happen, because then we don't know where he is, and he can just attack us. So we got the apostrophe egg. We're going to hatch that one out. And that's going to give us our flame. He's fine the way he is. Like I said, he just does an extra... He can do an extra damage to the boss. So we're going to bring him up. Yes, we're going to save. So here we are on floor 19. We're one away from the boss. We're in very good shape. 3 wind gems. And successful manipulation of enemies. Here we are. Here we are at the first boss. His name's Gantz. He's a big dinosaur. He hates us for no other reason than he hates us. He's a hate machine. He's like a wasp. He's the video game version of a wasp. So we're going to come up to him. Now this strat's very... So you see he's got 2 guys with him. He's got an alloyer on the right. That's the green guy. And he's got a guardian. Each of those will one-shot us if they ever get close to us. But we're not going to let that happen. You've come commendably far, but this is where it ends. So what we're going to do is we're going to manipulate the RNG. We're going to move to the right. The guardian takes right, and the alloyer comes down. Then we're going to move down until the alloyer hits us with a volt lock, which is going to miss. Here it is, the volt lock. And it missed. Now the alloyer is going to peace out, and we just have Gantz to deal with. Okay. I got to reset because I pressed the wrong button. That's no problem, though. We're going to come back to floor 20. Sorry, I got too involved explaining that one. So again, this is about a 20-second time loss. Not much. But the boss is there, and it's going to be a clean fight because I know exactly what to do. So we're just going to go here to continue. And we're back at floor 20, and we're at the boss again. So to eat the 20-second time loss, no big deal. And here we are at Gantz. He's going to talk to us. Now make sure not to spam A through this. You want to stop right here. Otherwise, you're going to skip a turn. So we're going to move right again. Alloy-induced Volt Lock right away. And they peace out. Cool. Gantz will kill us in one hit. We do not want to get hit by him at all. So what we're going to do is a very specific strat. I'm going to come here on this blue square. I'm going to summon Kune. And Gantz is going to come down one. I'm going to tell Kune, you have to do this in this order. You can't do this in any other order or you're going to lose turn status. Remember when we set plan to spell back up? We're going to change him to wait there. So he's going to sit on that. Then we're going to move down one. He's going to attack Gantz. Gantz has got to move to the right. Right? And then here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to plan. We're going to change Kune's AI to attack directly. Which doesn't forfeit our turn. It's still our turn. And then we're going to summon the flame, which we wanted. Right here. Gantz is going to move right. And if Kune is going to move up. Now we're going to trap Gantz. By doing this. We're going to go to the AI for the flame. We're going to set it to attack directly. We're going to move to the left. And they're going to trap Gantz. Boom. Now. Gantz's AI will only cause him to attack the player. Neither of those cornering him are the player, so Gantz will sit there until he's dead. Now you see Kune does anywhere from 3 to 4 damage. The Flame, for whatever reason, they're both fire type, him and Gantz. The Flame also does 3 to 4 damage, or 2 to 4 damage on Gantz. So that's the only way you can change the math is by having a fire type out, which is either Flame or Flamenco. You can fuse monsters in this game. Before we get to the final boss, I'll fuse a monster and do the fusion dance for you guys. Just because it's the Hurricane Relief run, and I gotta do it. So there are a couple dangers that can happen here. Either of those enemies we saw earlier could come down. And if they come down, I have to walk up and meet them, and then do a specific pattern of inputs so that they don't attack me or go down and attack my familers. Because my familers will die in one hit from them. They're not like Gantz. They won't just sit in a corner and die. They'll attack my guys. So that's it. That's the strategy here. You just trap Gantz in a corner and have your guys do the work. Other than that, like I'm just holding B and mashing it right now. So a bit about the upcoming floors. The upcoming floors, there are 2 dummy floors. What I mean by that is they're planted floors with just narrative hooks in the game. So one of them has a little bit of dialogue. The other one just has some items you can look at. Nothing major. It's free floors, so from floor 20 to floor 30, there's really only 6 floors you have to contend with. And a few of them I have predetermined layouts, like we saw. Some of them are random layouts. So Gantz is dead. I'm going to collar these guys so they're not out on the next floor, because I don't want to collar them out when enemies could be around. Or I don't want to have to collar them when enemies could be around. So they're back into the bag, and we're just going to run up. The other enemies are gone. Everyone despawns when Gantz is dead. And we're going to go up. And like I said, I'll save all the way up, just because I have really good RNG right now. I have 3 win gems. I'm feeling really confident. Again, any monster on these floors can kill us in one hit. This is a very bad trap. I'm in the confusion trap. I have no control over my character right now until the confusion's gone. If an enemy's around, I'm going to die in one hit to them. So we're just going to try to move ever so carefully around, avoiding any enemies that come across. Now I'm a frog. Again, I have control of my character, but I'm going to die in one hit to anything. And we don't want to waste a win gem on any wumps. That's a very bad thing to do. So we're going to have him go low. And we've spawned a Vizar. Great. Vizars will usually seek you out and just try to annihilate you. So let's go around the other way. And that's a Sizar. We are trapped here until we get favorable RNG. The best thing that could happen is to have one of those guys follow us from behind. I think the Wumps moved up. The Wumps have moved up. That one's moved down. Wump doesn't have any offensive abilities that attack from a distance. There's the Sizar, which makes you think the elevator must be up. Thank God that Wump parted ways. Okay, the elevator must be right over here. Boom. A little bit of crazy manipulation there, but it had to be done. So floor 22, again, this floor isn't predetermined. It's the Pokeball shape, and we're on a poison trap again. Pokeball shape is almost... It's one of the worst ones you can get later on in the level, just because the enemies are so deadly up here that you don't want to have to spend time looking for an elevator. There's a Wump, and the poison's gone, so I'm not going to bother to heal just because I'll die in one hit anyway. That guy there is bad. He's a Nuyel. He puts himself to sleep to gain all his health back. If we were doing a 100% run, I'd try and capture him if I had an Oviseed, because you can throw Oviseeds on monsters to turn them into eggs. That's an Arachne, another monster you need on the 100% run. And the reason you need those guys is because the Arachne doubles any monster it's fused with health. Okay. Now, we might have to reset this floor, just because we got to reset this floor, just because I don't want to waste wind gems on a Pokeball floor. So on a reset, the layout's going to be the same, the elevator will be the same. There's nothing you can do to stop bad RNG like that. And it's just unfortunate that the Pokeball floor happened. So I'll just talk a little bit about monster strategy. So on the 100% run, you want to find monsters to fuse with as best as you can. Reason being that, like I said, one of those guys we met would double our monster's HP, huge survivability boost. There he is again. He moved up, so I'll just gingerly come up here. And the other guy we saw would actually double our attack. That was the Arachne. This could be a sleep orb. It's a Mesomorb, so that's actually not the best orb to grab. A sleep orb would be great. Weak orb sends a monster's level down, which again, very good in the 100% run, but since this is any percent, it's pretty much useless to us. All the monsters here, I'm just trying to despawn them off screen real quick or force them to move down. Just because this guy seems to be intent on following us. And we despawned him successfully, so that's great. Check on the inner ring here, and then I'll double back and check the outer ring. Just because if I'm around a corner and I can spawn a monster like that, I have a better chance of getting away through line of sighting. The AI in this game is pretty dumb. I don't want to waste a wind gem on a Wump. He just wants to walk in a circle, but yeah, he's walking in a circle, so we're about to get surrounded here. He wants to follow us, so again, Wumps don't have any offensive magic that can hit at a range. Not a lot of monsters on this floor do. And again, just really trying to find the other. So I'm going to check the map here and see where I haven't been yet. So the elevator is either in the polar opposite. There's the elevator. So it's either here or in the bottom left. Glad we found it without having to use a wind gem. Just because the final floor before you get to the boss is a preset floor, and it's very narrow. There are lots of places where a wind gem comes in handy. And there's the elevator there, so we have to get to the middle. I just want to be very careful. So that's a Guardian. He will one-shot us. He seems to be very angry and intent on coming after us. So it looks like we're about to get sandwiched in between two monsters. Guardians are the toughest enemy in the game until you get to the Rust Trap. Rust actually... Frog Trap. Okay, I'll explain the Rust Trap. Rust Trap takes any item you have equipped and gets rid of its... Wow, no such luck at despawning that guy. And that's a reset. Okay, so at least we know where the elevator is for the reset. So again, 20-second time loss. Nothing major. And if it comes to it, I'll just use a wind gem to clear to the elevator. So Rust Trap. Rust Trap, if you have items whip, like a shield or a sword, Rust Trap will take one durability off of them. Durability increases how much damage you do in this game, rather than being how many uses you get out of the item. So a sword with plus 20 just bumps your damage up a lot. Other than that, where am I going? I started right where I needed to start. Sorry guys, lost track of the map. So which means I'm probably going to have to use a wind gem here. Or not. Boom. Perfect. Next floor. Frog Trap, I said, turns you into fog. Now you'll see some seeds scattered on the ground, the big red ones. You can throw those at monsters. They're not all Vit seeds. They don't all get mana back. And look at this, 2 wind gems. And one of them might be a fire gem. Fire gem gets rid of all monsters on the floor. I'll just go in and help him, rather than let him take 2 attacks to do anything. It just shortens the dialogue up. So this is crazy good. So that means we're going to have 5 poison trap. Wonderful. All the time waste. So there's a wind gem. Double wind gem, which means we have 5 wind gems. We're going to be a little bit more liberal in the use. So I'll try not to reset. That's a Guardian. I'm just going to run away from... Confusion Trap. I don't know. Half Speed Trap. So I'm going to die here. He's going to hit me for all I'm worth. We'll just reset. Since I know there are traps there, we can avoid them now. Again, 20-second time loss. Nothing to be worried about, especially since after this floor we'll have 5 wind gems. The boss, on the other hand, there's actually 2 bosses left technically. The next floor after this one, 25 and 26. Now I'll just do this. I won't go help Ghosh, just so you guys can see. You know, he's got a little duck with him called Quack, so I won't go help him, and he'll kill that guy, which saves me the time of walking in. But you have one more dialogue screen, so it's about the same. So I'll grab this, and I'll go down this time to see if the elevator's down here, just so I know there's traps up there. So there's another guardian. They're really terrible monsters. He just got stuck in a trap. So I'll go back up and check out what's going on for elevator placement. It's not here. I had a run one earlier where the elevator was stuck up there. I want to try and despawn him. I don't think it's going to work. I'll just spam select a bunch of times to see. Yeah, okay, he walked away. And I'll grab the sand. Bag's full. So we're full on items, which means I can get rid of some of the dumb items. We don't need these Vit Seeds because we're not concerned with mana at all. So I'll grab this sand just because I can just throw it at one of those guys and blind them. And perhaps save some frames. And there's the elevator. Perfect. So now we're coming into pre-made floors. We'll just save here real quick. 25. So you notice the music changed. And we're going to get our first bit of dialogue. You're going to see this guy here. There's something written in an ancient language alphabet. I'll read this for you guys. In far heavens sleep the maddened dead. That big picture's actually one of the final bosses if you do a 100% run. If the commentator could have made it, he could have told you a bit about that because he's the record holder for the 100% run. I don't do 100% yet. It's not my favorite category, and it's like 4 hours long. Here's another one. This is just there's no enemies on this floor, no items. It's just preset. There's just an orb, which if you pay attention to the lore and dialogue, you'll understand what it means. So we have 2 more floors to go now before we get to the final boss, who's much more difficult. Elevator spawned right on cue. This is awesome. This would have been a crazy run if I was running for real. We've had very favorable RNG. So he just found that armband, and it's from his master, which means his master's probably dead. So he's pissed off, naturally, as you would be if you found out your master was dead. As he just said, the Azure Swordsman was my master, blah, blah, blah. So now he kind of likes you because you found his dead master's thing. So let's move on to the next floor. Floor 28. This is the last floor before bosses, and it's terrible. This floor absolutely sucks unless you get a quick elevator, which we did not, which means enemies are going to start spawning. But we have 5 wind gems. Oh boy. That guy was a Grondon. He has a ranged attack that can one-shot you, so avoiding him is best. We'll just... That's a souvenir. I'm going to throw a wind gem at it. The chances are he's not going to try and kill me. But he could try and steal instead. But obviously he's going to steal a wind gem just because that's how the RNG goes, right? Oh boy. There's the elevator. Right in time for the Grondon to get in line with us, but we're going to dab away from him. Just like that. And we're going to fight Gantz for the 2nd time in the run. He's back and better, bigger, better than ever. Because he's S-Gantz, Super Gantz. And look, he's got one of those monsters with him. So he's talking to us like, hey, I'm going to get you this time. But look at this guy. Who remembers the guy we met on floor 10? It's Lord Beldo. So you're the boss. But now he shows us his face. He's got purple hair, or purple eyes and blue hair. Which if you paid attention to any of the people you talked to on the way up, they'd say your dad was last seen with someone with purple eyes and blue hair. It's Beldo. So the cat's out of the bag. Beldo killed your father. And now he waits for you on floor 30. But you gotta get by Gantz first. So what's gonna happen? Gantz threatens us. He says, you're not going any further. Say your prayers. Well, I'm gonna say a prayer to RNGesus right now. Or maybe you should, Gantz. So same thing. Move to the right, and then walk down. And then come here. Summon your guy. Same thing. You have to go to plan. You're gonna tell him to wait there. Because your plan, changing your plan doesn't forfeit your turn. And then move down. Gets attacked. Moves over. So we're going to move. We're going to just look up by pressing the button for just a few frames. We're going to change, before I summon him, we're going to change Kune's AI to attack directly. And then we're going to summon the flame. Boom. Check the flame's plan. It should be the same. It's set to attack directly. We'll just reinforce that. And then we're going to move over. Boom. Gantz is going to get annihilated. Same thing. Gantz just does the same stuff as before. He always tries to attack you. He never goes for your minions, so you're safe to just sit and let him attack. Or let them attack him. In this one, he has, I think, 100 and... I can't remember if they put his HP up for the second encounter or not. Maybe he just does more damage. In the first encounter, he has, I think, 86 HP. In this one, I used to know, but since we found the optimal strategy, I haven't cared about it because we can just, I can beat him with my eyes closed, literally. So we can just dab on Gantz. Now, you might notice earlier that I in the run when I was naming these guys, when I first got my familiars, I thought about naming them one letter. I used to think that if you named them one letter, it helped when the text was scrolling, but when you're in battle mode like this, text doesn't get revealed one character at a time. It just comes together on screen all at once. So it's actually, excuse me, it doesn't matter what you name your guys. So it actually takes frames to rename them. So Kune and Flame are just going to beat on Gantz until he... this time, Gantz is going to die. Gantz isn't going to teleport away. He's going to go, gah, and then that's it. Then we get to fight the hardest boss in the game. And again, I'm going to do a certain strategy before we get to that boss. And there always is the danger that 2 of his minions will walk down here. And there are actually 4 minions in this fight. And any of them could come down at any time. There is a strategy that the second place runner uses. He'll actually go stand up, just up top, just so your guys are on screen. Because if they're off screen, you get a longer text dialogue saying your guy is off fighting somewhere. But he'll stand just so they're on screen. And if someone comes down, he'll just walk in a certain pattern. I don't do that because I find when I go up there, the chances of them coming down more happen, and then you actually have to move between rounds, which you don't want to do. You'd rather just sit here and spam buttons instead of wasting frames moving. Although that strategy is a sure strategy against anyone coming down to screw with you. So we got to go through some level up screens now, just because Gantz puts these guys up. No, the earlier Gantz didn't give any experience for some reason. Don't ask me why. That one did. We have one fight left. But in the next fight, we actually want it to go quicker. So it will go quicker if we desummon these guys. We don't want them present for the next fight. Just because they get turns in the next fight. We don't actually want that to happen. No. What's going on here? Yes, I want to go up. Now, I won't save on this floor just because this is a sure fight. Floor 30. Welcome to floor 30. Now, there is an argument to be made that your time should have ended back at the last fight, but you actually still have control of your character for a little bit in this fight. It's not an auto fight, although it should be. So, out comes Kune, and he goes to Beldo's side, and you're thinking, like, what's going on? Well, Kune is actually Beldo's right arm. When Beldo killed your father severed it and imbued Kune with some magic to seek you out, to come and avenge him or whatever. Here it is here. You're going to see what happens. Your father has found the magic egg with 2 of his familiars. Beldo betrays him. And then wipes Kune's memories so that Kune has no idea this happened. And then Kune seeks you out when you turn 15, like we saw in the beginning of the game. So your dad's just going to say your name before he dies. So see, your dad just cut his right arm off. Then Beldo's going to turn Kune into his right arm after this flashback's over. The scene from the beginning of the game. Now what your father did here is he's put a seal on the egg so that Beldo couldn't get it. Only someone with your father's blood could get it, so it had to be you. Beldo wants to kill you and use your blood to get the egg, but we're not going to let that happen. Actually, Kune's not going to let that happen. And I'll show you why. So here you go, he wipes Kune's memories, he sends him off. There's the arm that Kune actually is. It's a really weird little plot line here. And now we're going to fight Beldo. So what you want to do is you don't want to skip turns here. Goshi's going to come try and save the day. He's like, man, the Azure warrior died. He was my master. I have to avenge him. So Goshi's be like, Beldo, I'm going to kill you instead. Take all the glory. But this is our story, not Goshi's. So Gosh can fight valiantly, but he's going to get 2-shot. He doesn't die, though. His little duck saves him. Quack, quack. And then he runs away. He's like, nope, had enough. I can't do this anymore. Alright, so now we're going to fight Beldo. So I moved up. Otherwise, Beldo had to come down one more. And this is an auto attack. Kune de-summons himself from being Beldo's arm. And then Kune, much like Goku did when Frieza killed Krillin, Kune's about to go Super Saiyan. People of the Earth, lend me your strength. So he's going to Spirit Bomb him right now. I have one more dialogue. Boom. Super Saiyan Kune kills Beldo. One-shots that guy. And right now, it's just a dialogue fest until the credits. And Kune's wondering why he's not dead. Well, it's because of magic that your father used. Just like Harry Potter. I mean, J.K. Rowling obviously stole the curse that Harry's mom used to save him from Voldemort from this game. So, that's a joke, by the way. We're going to grab the ultimate egg. And the game's still not over yet because we're not to the credits. We just got the ultimate egg. Now, if you do the 100% mode, you get to come back in the tower after this, back to floor 30, at which time you can upgrade Kune to Dark Kune, and then you get to go to the basement floors. The basement goes from 0 to floor 99, and there's a few more bosses. So here's everyone at your house. People that, like, I don't know, like, I guess everyone knows your mom. That explains why your sister has green hair, but your dad had red hair and she had blue hair, I guess. So, here we go. And I'm going to come back, and it's been raining ever since I went in the tower. That's the plot point. Here I am, I'm back! Everyone's like, oh man, you're back. And like, all the people that hated me love me now, for some reason. Like, I didn't interact with them at all, they just love me. And your sister's going to be like, oh wow, look at this, the blue sky, and that's time! Boom. There's the credits. That's Azure Dreams on Game Boy Color. What an RNG fest. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Shoutouts once again to everyone for putting this on. Waldo, Commander, Koltaho. I was super happy when I saw this come up. I signed up right away. Now I can, if I have time, I can show a fusion off, like I said I would. Is there time to show off one fusion, or am I cut short? Just let me know real quick as we go through the credits, and I can show off the fusion dance. Just awaiting confirmation. I can say a little bit more about the game while I wait for confirmation on that. 100% mode, you're going to grab 2 familers, and you're going to try and find certain items called Ovoseeds. Like I think I mentioned them before. You throw an Ovoseed at a wild monster, it reverts to egg form and goes into your inventory. So then you just hatch it and merge it into your other monsters. You're going to want certain monsters for that, because all monsters hatch at level 1, but the abilities they can give are static. So a level 1 monster, like a level 1 Arachne, is always going to double the attack. So here we are, like we get the little after credits cutscene, and we're gonna find out what's going on, and then we'll have control back again, and we'll get to do some fusions, or just one fusion. Okay, cool. So I'll show off some fusions here real quick. We just got the ultimate egg, and they were saying like you can go to the top of the tower now. So let's go see what happens. You know, and there is a 100% category you can do in this where there are certain places in the town, I'll just show one off real quick, like this place here, or this theater house down here, that if you give them enough money and items, you can upgrade them. So I guess that's the true 100% run. So I have too many items, so it's saying like you can't come in because you have too many items, like I mentioned before. So let's just discard everything that's not a monster. And then I'll go in and just show you guys the fusion dance. So you can actually have 5 items when you go in. And fusions have some funny properties. Actually, we don't actually know all the fusion possibilities in the game. We just know that sometimes a monster can change type. Sometimes you can get a completely different monster than what you started with. Like if you fuse 2 flames together above level 10, or sorry, flame turns into Ifrit at level 10, and then you can fuse them to make other things. Okay, we've got everything we need here. So I'll just show off a couple fusions. So we're back to level 1. If you go to, like I said, if we go to floor 30. And Selkie's going to come talk to us. If we go to floor 30 from here, we'd hit floor 30, dialogue happens, and then we'd use the basement floors. So then it becomes, let's go down to basement floor 99. And that's sort of like the true ending. It's a huge grind fest, and it's a 4.5 hour run. So let's get some monsters out to fuse them, just to show off some cool little tricks. So this is Wump. We'll actually name him, we'll call him like Here we go. Oh. No, no, no. There. Apparently I can't select the R, the letter R. No, 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 no. There. So we've named our Wump Ceri. And we're going to hatch the Kraken egg as well, which I think is an Octos. No more Bedzim is stable. Okay, that's fine. So we'll make some Bedzim stable by fusing these guys. So we have a Wump and a Flame out. So I think this will change Flame's constitution to blue. So we'll go to fusion. The base monster we want to be is Flame. And we get to choose what skills they have. So it doesn't matter because there's not enough that's going to wipe any out. So we're going to do the fusion dance. Fusion! Ha! And Flame was so strong that he just kept his constitution. So he just gained one of Wump's abilities. So we'll hatch Kraken, which is an actual Kraken. So a Kraken is born. I don't actually know what happens if you fuse a Kraken with a Flame together. So let's find out. And this will be the last one we do. I did the fusion dance to the left, so we'll do it to the right this time. Yeah, he's out. Let's fuse. Yeah, we'll make Kraken the base monster. And we'll keep them all, because we don't have anything else. So we'll do the fusion dance. Fusion. Ha! And I did the fusion dance to the wrong side again. We got a new monster. Oh no, we just got a red Kraken. So there you go. Change the constitution, no new monster. That's Azure Dreams. That's all for me. Without further ado, I guess I'll take my leave. Can't wait to watch the rest of the runners. And that's Christ1ansears signing out.